Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. The Greenway Outdoors is also an internationally syndicated TV show on Pursuit Channel and Wild TV. You are now tuned into our weekly podcast hosted by executive producer Kyle Green, production coordinator Jeff Hutchinson, director AJ Beadle, and creative producer Ryan Parks. We live in a world where our natural resources are almost solely protected by funds raised by hunters and fishermen, with over 60% of those funds coming from white males over the age of 55. The Greenway Outdoors team has set out on a mission to create content that would inspire millennials, Generation Z, and new sportsmen and women to get out, hunt, fish, and contribute towards conservation and the betterment of our planet. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors.
What is this?
He saved it.
This is from Miami.
You can tell I filmed it because it's vertical.
Oh, that is him. I forgot about that.
Look at me. I had my long hair.
You were acting like you were. No, there you go.
I was drowning in the 4 foot of water.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Wow, good job.
He was like, film me. I'm gonna do something really cool. Okay.
I would like to think that this is the one that stung Jeffrey. That would make me happy. 'Cause then I know
Yeah, we were
that
all
was
getting
him.
stung. That's right.
Not me.
I got stung. I got stung in the armpit and in the bottom of my foot.
Deal with him right now.
We got those matching
Legs look
shirts.
good, buddy.
Yep, that was
I
funny.
like the smile.
Kyle wouldn't do it.
Yep. We came to this restaurant.
I'm wearing my
and I
shirt in
asked
this
for
clip.
the
This really makes me miss
strongest
Miami.
drink they had, and I got a virgin strawberry daiquiri mixed with pina colada.
I like at the end of that clip. I don't think we've heard it there, but you're right in the background. Go, yeah, I'll take one of those too. Like, yeah, I'll have that.
They are a dream, though. They are good.
My favorite was when I tried to boogie board and then the wave didn't work, and I was like, "Don't film me." He's like, "Oh, good job, buddy." Yeah, like a little
You
kid.
watch. Here comes a big wave. Film this. It's gonna be awesome. Okay.
And then like it just died before it got to me. So Idaho, right now, there's a rare time in life when all of the variables come together, where you're very sure everyone else is an idiot. Okay. And
I wonder where this is going.
for whatever reason, you should be able to capitalize on it. Jeff, if there was one type of fishing you want to do for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It's gonna be trout fishing, probably.
So yeah, I knew
I'm
he was
glad you
gonna.
could hear that.
By the
in
way, you
microphone.
whispered into the mic and I can hear.
Hey,
Hey, it's gonna be trout. He's gonna say trout. I'm gonna go with
Bluegill.
trout, Alex.
Well, listen to this. So in a river in Idaho, which is ironically we were supposed to go for the pigeon hunt, but we didn't end up going to. And we were supposed to stay on this river. It's called the Fork River, I believe. Yeah, South Fork River. So
Nope, it's the South Fork of the Snake River.
Oh, Snake River. Thank
Close,
you.
though.
Thank you.
Read a book.
So the South Fork of the Snake River, which is where we were supposed to go in Idaho for pigeon hunting. Remember that, AJ?
I do.
And we were supposed to go there, and we never got to. The river's awesome, but listen to this. They have a really good cutthroat fishery there. And cutthroat is a type of trout. It sounds like a really... And the reason why they call it that is because it looks like
There's
they got
assassins
red
there.
around here, like around the fan. It looks like somebody
Oh,
cut
that's
their
cool.
throat. Yeah,
All
it's-
right.
so they call them cutthroats. But they're more of a rare species that you don't see that often, but they're a form of trout. Anyhow, there's also a lot of rainbow trout in this river, okay, which is what Jeff and I love to do. Well, now the rainbow trout numbers have gone up really, really, really high. And the problem with that is they'll actually commingle with the cutthroats, and they'll actually crossbreed.
Really?
And the problem is there's so many
Rain throats.
rain throats. There's so many rainbow trout there that it's actually jacking up their interbreeding, and it's messing up the cutthroat fishery, which is rare, and they're worried about protecting it. So because of that, and listen to these numbers, just 2 years ago, per mile of river, there was 1,000 rainbow trout, which is a lot. Literally 2 years later, there's 3,000 rainbow trout per mile of river right now.
Were we just looking at was that trout or was that the hybrid thing?
Those were just trout.
Good God, those were ginormous.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
You have to
probably,
remember,
they're probably the
you've-
fish at Bass Pro.
they were fishing tanks.
You've fished out west and you've caught those.
Yeah.
I've only ever trout fished here in Michigan, and the biggest one I ever caught was a brown trout in the
Yeah,
lake, and it was like 18 inches. But most of them are like woohoo, 8 inches, it's a keeper.
Right.
Do you remember fishing with us a couple weeks ago on Lake Huron?
Those are lake trout, though.
Lake trout.
That's
I'm talking about like brook trout,
rainbow
rainbow
trout,
trout,
okay.
brown trout. Lake trout are a different thing.
Ryan turns into
here
an
in
idiot.
here in Michigan, anyways.
Yeah, so it's true, though. A lot of the rivers that we fish in for brook trout, he's right. The keeper is 7 inches.
Yeah.
So
They don't get big.
Yeah, so that's, but I mean, you catch a 12-inch and you're like, good Lord.
Out west they get big.
Well, I went to Colorado and I fished for rainbow trout. 4 casts, 4 rainbow trout. All the biggest rainbow trout I've ever caught. And I was like, well, this kind of ruins the whole. I spent a lot of afternoons trying to get one in Michigan.
I've enjoyed this very first deer hunt I've ever gone on. I got a 30 point. I assume that's normal, right?
Is it like knee-deep water kind of stuff?
This is bigger. This is bigger. Not as big as where we were in Oklahoma,
Oh, okay.
but not as small. Like, there's boat parties on this river.
Okay.
But
So where was this going?
where is it going? So there's so many rainbow trout there that there's 3,000 per mile now, which is
That's stupid.
so awesome. Okay.
Stepping on them.
Yeah. So what they did was they're working on changing the catch limits and stuff like that because they're saying that fishermen need to catch at least double. But in order to do studies, they've actually put like wire trackers in and stuff like that in a bunch of the fish in their snouts. And if you should catch one of those and turn it in so they can use it for the research data, that you'll get a prize anywhere from $50 to $1,000 per head.
Nice.
Per
That
head.
gets
like
people
that.
to go out.
But yeah, exactly. And on top of that, there's so many of them that you got to get them. Here's the thing, though. It's like I was saying, like all the variables to make everybody else. It's like, well, I get that the cutthroat, fishery is important, but it's rainbow trout fishing. So many that there's an issue. It's like you can't have too much of a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like Jeffrey getting to spend time with me. He can never get enough. The more, the better.
Oh, always.
As much as he can get, that's like.
I'm waiting for like the wavy lines of the dream sequence.
But the point is, can you have too much of a good thing? Because, good Lord, there's so many there right now. So that's how the fishery's going. Here's my thoughts. Ryan, what do you think? I'm thinking an episode on this. Because if we go there, we talked about it on the podcast, so cute, like right now. Oh my God, we're living it. And then we
Just
go.
like the crawfish.
God, we're going this weekend, aren't we?
That's how I was supposed to tell you. Yes, we're going this weekend.
Yep.
No, but I want to find out the seasons and stuff like that there in Idaho. Go there, go to the Snake River, and I say we just give it 4 or 5 days. We've got the people with the pigeon hunt. We can do the pigeon hunt there too, so we can get 2 episodes.
Was that pigeon or dove?
Shut up, Jeff. We're
yeah,
talking.
Yeah, Jeff. The adults are here, okay? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know why we turned on it was pigeon though. Remember, it was layout blinds like.
I remember that. I just thought it was dove for some reason.
Rock doves. Yeah. But no, it was pigeon. So we could go there and we could do both. But then we could go and we can get the bands and actually turn them in and
Pay for the trip.
And if we all work really, really
There you
hard,
go.
we can pay for this trip without having to come out of the finances. Very smart.
Very smart. And who's done an episode on a hybrid trout cut bow or whatever you call them?
Cutthroat?
Well, the idea is you're hoping not to get they're hoping there's not, but they can crossbreed. I don't know what the likelihood is of catching one.
You're given data, information.
Well, I
helping
think it's a good story because you're covering, like AJ just said, you're covering the DNR aspect of it and how they're managing it. They identify a problem, they're trying to solve it, how they're trying to solve it. You're covering all those things, and then on top of that, you're catching rainbow trout. What? And then after that, you're also hopefully catching a cutthroat to catch, and obviously we'd probably release those. I don't know what the.
It would be cool.
I actually think they're one of the fish you can snag legally. There's some place where you're able to snag
Paddlefish.
paddlefish. Well, that's because they're filter feeders. There's. Okay, sorry, I won't talk. You like freak
Go
out.
ahead, you lead.
Oh yeah. There's a place where you can snag trout legally. There's like a season, and I want to say it's in Colorado, and I want to say it's for cutthroat. I could be completely wrong. If you know, message us, let us know. But
Yeah. But
nonetheless,
don't call us stupid because we're asking for your help.
I know
right
we're
now.
asking. Just relax. You don't gotta
Just
yell.
relax, dude.
You don't gotta yell. Write in all caps. Say
get it,
mean
we get
things.
it.
We get it. We didn't know. Okay?
Here's this fun picture we took one time. You're wearing orange. What are you hunting? Nothing that you hunt right now would mean you.
That guy ended
It's
up
like,
being nice.
What?
That guy ended up being nice.
But everyone's so on top of you. Post one thing on Facebook and it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's just a picture.
circus.
Calm down.
So this story is not as nice. So this one actually irritates me to the extreme. Like I watched the footage and I literally, my stomach was churning.
Pigs.
So there was two.
No bears.
There was two guys,
Well,
a father
know
and
what I mean in
son,
a
a
couple
40.
minutes.
Go ahead, guys. No, just kidding. You guys are obviously killing the story. There is a 40-year-old dad and a 22-year-old son. No, the son was 18. So
18,
I
yeah.
just remember doing the math.
And he was
that
22
when he had him.
Yeah.
18-year-old son and a 40-year-old dad. They went out bear hunting in Alaska out of season, and they actually went to a den, and they shot into the den. It was below a tree. That's them.
Jeez.
The son's got no shirt on.
That is one of the most redneck things I've ever seen.
Worse
That-
than redneck. That's
Well,
just
No,
like
no, a redneck wouldn't do that.
That's actually
No.
true. That's true.
No, a redneck wouldn't do that.
that's go back to your
Go back.
broken shanty.
But like you're in snow. What?
Well, so anyhow,
What?
they're in Alaska. That's at a base of a tree there, and there's a mom with her 2 cubs in there, and the footage is horrendous. The guy shoots they're shooting into there, killing him, but like your aim, and they're all wrapped up.
High-fiving.
They're all wrapped up to each
Why are
other.
you laughing right now?
Yeah, what is
They're
funny?
high fiving.
Oh.
What in the world?
Yeah, I don't understand. So they shot into it, killed the mom, killed the babies, and then they were like celebrating. What they didn't realize was there was a camera set up, obviously, because we're looking at pictures. There was a camera set up by like the DNR and the Forestry Service
Oh, no way.
because they were monitoring the mom and cubs to like
research.
science. You
No
know?
way.
So
Yeah,
they
I'm
happen to
I'm
get on camera.
waiting to figure out, all right, who's filming these people? Like,
And then
who got paid? Or, you know?
And then the idiots, they're talking in the video, and they're like, no one's ever going to be able to trace this to us. Let's get a picture. And they're like saying all that. Well, then they came back, I guess, 2 days later to pick up their shell casings and also discard the cubs. So,
Oh, my God.
I mean, don't get me, listen, male bears kill so many cubs and moms, especially when they're in hibernation. They'll wake up early, and the first thing they do is go looking for cubs, even their own. They don't care. That's what they eat.
The odds are they're going to kill other cubs so that their progeny will live, and then will spread
Actually,
their
they're
stuff.
they're thinking
But they
that's a
end up
myth.
killing their own too.
They think it's a myth that's maybe not the case now.
Really?
They thought that was it, but given the frequency of them killing the cubs that are with the mom that they obviously had relations with, that they think they should be able to be smart enough. They're smart enough to reason at the it's like 3rd grade level or something like that, something very high.
Really?
They're able to.
Wow.
Yeah, it was in our episode. Maybe watch
So
it.
they're just raising them for food.
At the simple concept level, they're able to think. I mean, they can do that. They just wake up really hungry, and that's easy. And it's like, I don't want to kill my kid, but I'll eat
We'll
him.
just make another one.
Yeah, that's. He's like,
That's
hey,
dark.
Hey, pretty mama. But
The difference is
There is a big difference.
That is the way that nature is, and that's the bear's instinct to do. We can think through things further than that bear can and understand that that's just purely
Yeah.
wrong.
Well, but the thing is most animal behavior you can work through and say, oh, well, they do this to survive. It may be weird, but they do that to survive. Like deer, the does will eat the poop of the babies, and they'll like drink as the baby pees to like so that way there's no scent, so that predators
never
don't
heard
come
that.
in.
I've never heard that
you
before
You
either.
never heard that before?
I know that they eat the afterbirth stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of animals do that.
Yeah, I
The
know that.
moms
too.
will follow the fawns around and eat the poop
Yeah, humans do that too.
to stop.
Yeah, your mom didn't do that.
No, not the poop. That's
another
the
realm.
poop thing. The eating the
Yeah, they put it in pill form because
Some-
there's supposed to be health benefits to
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird
I don't know
stem
anything
cells
about
or something.
Another day.
Who
I don't know
knows?
anything about it. I just
Let's talk about it in
sounds-
detail.
No, it sounds gross. Now the dad, who is 40, was jailed for 3 months, and his fines totaled $10,800,
Okay.
which is good. And the son, basically, it was like $9,000, I think, and then they both got charged $1,800 each on top. So the dad got $9,000 in fines plus $1,800, which was they called it. What's the thing where you're called?
Not reparation.
Yeah, it was called
Was it that?
reparations. Thank you, because
Oh, okay.
what I would have had to describe in order for you to come to terms with the word reparations probably wouldn't have been
I heard
good.
where you're going, I'm
yeah,
glad you
thank you. You were listening faster than I was talking, so that was good. Yeah, and then the son was also charged $1,800, and it said that he was suspended
It didn't
without pay for 30 days. I don't know what that means. I don't know because
Did
the
he work
the
for
dad.
the-
I don't know. The dad went to jail. But the dad lost his hunting license for 10 years, and the son lost
That's
it for
it?
10 years. The dad,
To
2
me,
years. Well, it's 10,800 hours.
It's not capital punishment.
3 months in jail, and you can't hunt or fish for 10 years. So yeah, I mean,
you can clearly. He's.
what do you want him hung? What do you want?
Yeah, I
Ryan?
mean, I feel like
I don't think the
I don't know,
license
if
thing is going to stop it.
Watch the video and watch how disgusting it was.
It was disgusting.
And you will agree with that you think the punishment should be harsher.
fair
The way
enough.
they walk up on this bear and just open up on it, and you can hear them screaming. And
Okay,
it's
all
dis-
right.
no,
Yeah.
it is disgusting.
Yeah, I didn't put it in because I thought it was too much.
Yeah,
It's
put
not.
the,
It's not fun to watch.
the rating beforehand.
Yeah, wait.
But it's
And we're down to 2 viewers now. That's weird.
It's weird. I just saw the number drop off.
If you watch the actual video, I think you'd agree that that's
Okay.
not a harsh enough punishment.
I will definitely agree with that.
Yeah, the
And put a shirt on.
I thought the punishment was actually. I thought the punishment was pretty good. I thought the son got off. The dad's I thought was good. The son got let off too easy because he was. I mean, he's 18 years old and he's right along with him, and they were high fiving and he's
Yeah.
getting pictures. I don't see all that much difference between the dad's punishment and the kid's punishment. I really don't. They're both shooting. So what was? I don't see the difference.
Yep.
But what I do see the difference of is the difference between poaching and hunting. So we're all sitting in this room. In this very season,
That was my question, yeah.
we had a episode of a black bear hunt where I killed a 3.5-year-old male. That, by the way, was eating babies in the area. So that's to go tell you. But nonetheless, I did a bear hunt, and I don't have any guilt of doing a bear hunt. Why? Because I practiced fair chase. I did it within season. I paid for my hunting licenses and all my tags, which were very expensive out of state. And actually, they were cheaper than we thought, though. Remember, we thought they were going to be
cheaper
like,
than we thought, but
I was
they're
like
still
$500-600,
expensive.
and it was like $200 out the door. I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I paid for my tags. Therefore, the dollars I spent go back towards the conservation and the furtherment of the species in general. Mm-hmm. And I harvested my bear in a clean, ethical way. I cleaned it. I used all the meat. I've got the head. It's in Ryan's parents' fridge right now.
All the meat isn't my house.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Your dad is such a sweetheart too.
This episode's brought to you by the Parks freezer.
No, they Mr. Parks then went through and broke down the meat and then vacuum sealed it for me like a sweet. I love that. That guy.
You've got too many people in your life that do that for you.
That's very true.
I
know, because I'm one of them.
We're all patrons.
I was talking to my sister today, and they're like going through and painting my parents' house and putting in new light plugs and stuff like that and all this stuff. And she was talking about how fast Aaron was able, my sister's husband was at putting in light switches and all these different things. And my sister goes, "Do you even know how to do that?" I go, that would be a Jeffrey thing for sure. I was like, I don't.
Does it involve a screw? Oh, no.
I don't do that. No.
Righty, lefty, I don't know.
Jeffrey, I do have a lot of people that help me, but thank you, Mr. Parks, for doing that and helping us break down our bear. But nonetheless, we're utilizing all the meat. We're paying for the licenses, giving back the species. We're practicing fair chase. We're following the laws. We're doing it in an ethical way. We're reporting our bear. We're doing everything that we're supposed to do to further the species and help the species. And because I hunted bears and because I took a bear, there will be more bears than there would have been had I not. And that's the difference. A poacher goes out, breaks the rules,
Yep.
kills a mom and babies while they're sleeping, doesn't use all the meat, guaranteed, because they didn't use the babies. They came back and discarded them 2 days later and picked up their shell casings. That was it.
Wow.
So they're not using that. They didn't use those for sure. I don't know what they did with the mom.
And
I want to say that it got confiscated and was either donated or something.
Well, maybe now, but who knows what they were going to do with it?
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is that the babies for sure were wasted.
Yeah.
For sure. So, how do you not see the difference between the two? You know what I mean? There's one where there's more bears because I did it and it's clean, ethical, and the right thing to do. And then in the other way, there's less bears and you're a monster.
I kind of think of it as like a graph. Like there is a mom bear who knows how many more cubs she would have had, and there is 2 cubs in there alive with her. And if you look at it, she's the pyramid, and then those 2 cubs have kids. She has more kids.
He's
and
going
they
to
go
start
more
giving
and
us
more
an
and more
Amway
and more and
speech.
more.
He's going to try and sell us something
now
through
what
Amway.
if you could do that, but with business? Now, if you could make
Oh, the
money,
pyramid
and then
scheme.
the
It
people
works.
underneath you could make money. And then you get to have cool parties, invite your friends over, and then you sell them stuff. They have parties. You can host the parties if you want. They sell stuff to them, and then you're making money while they're selling stuff, and then it works out great, and it all comes back to you at the top.
And it's so great to see you after 15 years that I haven't seen you since high school, and we're just dogging
I
everybody.
noticed on Facebook that you're doing well in this industry. How would you like to get into sales?
You ever thought about side money? We're just dogging everyone. Sorry. I just get so many of those stupid messages
I know.
that's how I feel.
I'm an independent contractor.
Oh,
It's a certain type of person too, like that.
There's people that are good at it, and God bless them. Like, if you can be good at anything and you can be great at it, that's awesome. But messaging me when I haven't
Pyramid
talked to you in
schemes
10
are a really
years,
good thing to be good at.
Yeah. Well, no, if you can, it's sales at the end of the day. If you're like if you believe in the product and you're delivering a good product, God bless
By
you.
all means. I've actually gotten involved with several of those just because I liked the product. I never sold it. I just liked. One was like leadership and
He went to the first meeting.
development
Yeah,
books.
he went to the first meeting. He's
And-
like, I'm part of it.
Yeah, this is terrible. I don't like any of this, but I like the book that and I read the book. I like that. They have other books. Okay, I'll read the other books, but then I don't go to the meetings or any of that. I'm not like, I'm going to call all my friends and sell them stuff. Like that's.
I'm glad you told us that.
The one thing that I take away from this is that
How did
The
we
pyramid
get
scheme?
there?
we are
Ryan
from
started.
the bear video is you're being watched at all times.
Yeah.
Even in the woods when you know you're not.
You're in Alaska.
It's very eagle eye, and that's a good inclination of where we are at right now too.
no matter
You're always
what.
being watched, no
mean-
matter what.
You're in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, and you got filmed breaking the law.
Yep.
Thank goodness for that they did get caught. I wonder how much. $10,800 plus $1,800. So
And
all that money, actually, hopefully, I wonder where that goes. Because I know what my hunting license does. I wonder where that money goes.
that probably goes back to the state.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
what?
to fund the people who are in prison for doing things like that?
Well,
Probably.
that's what I'm saying. How much does it cost to have him in prison for 90 days?
Right,
Oh,
and that's what
okay.
I'm saying. That's probably like he's probably paying for it. Like that's a thing where prisoners will
interesting.
pay for themselves to be in
Prison.
prison.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what? So how much of that money goes back to the bear? I don't know. I'm not
Right,
pointing
yeah,
fingers
yeah,
or trying
yeah.
to start something. I just don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna get all these angry messages. First of all, I love pyramid schemes. Second of all, I'm an independent business owner through Amway. Third of all, that bear story was awful. And those pictures, horrendous. No, I'm just kidding.
Amway. That's funny.
I've got an age-old question that I have had. If you would have asked me this when I was 10, if you would have asked me this when I was 15, and if you would have asked me it now, I'd have 3 different answers for you. And I find it really interesting, and I did a bunch of research on it. Not opinion-based research, but I did my best to find examples of good experiments that scientists put on that would lead me to believe that their answer is correct or not. So the age-old question is, do fish feel pain? So a big thing that
Age-old question.
like, and I'll be honest with you, when I remember sitting in a fishing boat with my dad, and I was like, well, does the hook hurt him? Every kid asks it, or
Oh, yeah.
every girl that you take fishing asks it. Like, does the hook hurt him?
Really? Only girls?
Oh, see, here we go. Are you? No, we shouldn't go down that road. We've already offended enough people today. So, does a fish hook hurt a fish by having it in their lip? Do they feel pain? Is it the same? And I asked my dad that, and my dad immediately said, no, they don't. Their brain doesn't work the way ours does. Doesn't hurt. And I remember like feeling some relief by that. And I was like, I mean, when you think about a fish fighting back when you're trying to reel it in, if someone had me hooked by the lip, I'm going wherever they want me to go. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Have you seen that thing from Jackass that Steve-O did?
Or
He put the shark hook through his cheek.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, he was sitting on the. They went out
Yeah.
into the middle of the ocean. They did they chum the waters?
Yeah,
Why would
they
you do
did.
They
that?
chummed the waters. He puts a hook himself
He was
through
fishing.
his cheek, and they had it connected to a fishing pole, and he's jumped in the ocean. There's sharks swimming all around him with this hook
It's
in
true.
his cheek.
And we've got
Very
the
true.
footage.
No. I wish we had
man.
that footage. I am all about
That's
it.
insane.
I love Steve-O.
The thing that I like is while I was looking into this, I get one article that's like 2013, do fish feel pain? No, they don't. 2015, do fish feel pain? You thought wrong, think again. 2018, they do, but not like we do. Like it was so back and forth, and every 2 or 3 years there seems to be a different opinion on some new science. So I'm very curious
makes
to know.
sense.
How I ended
where
up
you're
on it.
at on
Okay.
that.
Well, here's something that's interesting to me. One of the things that they can measure is when you hurt yourself really bad, especially in a bad situation. We won't go through the DMT talk today, but we'll get there eventually. But when you're in pain, your body releases like opioid type stuff.
Dimethyltryptamine.
Yeah, no. Don't go in there. But it'll release opioids to help you not feel the pain. Like your body releases painkillers.
Is it opioids or is it?
It's not opioid. I don't think that's a
some kind
word.
of natural.
They used opioids often in enough articles where I felt comfortable saying it here, but I don't know that I should call it that. So I don't want to call
I'm
it
not
that.
sure.
But our body releases hormones or something.
Some substance.
Some
sure.
substance that helps take the pain away. Well, fish do the exact same thing.
Sure.
So that right there is something that tells me something. Now there's 2 experiments. Experiment 1. This was interesting. You put the fish in the fish tank, and they would drop Legos, like a bunch of them, into the fish tank, onto the fish. Now the fish would avoid them and then stay away from them because it's a foreign object that could lead to danger, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they duck and dive out of the way. If they injected them with, it's a form of acid, with a needle, that would be painful in their lip or skin or gill or behind the, whatever it might be. They were doing it behind the gill is where they were injecting them. It would be painful, hypothetically, because it would be painful if you put that acid into us, and then did the same experiment. The fish would not dodge out of the way. Meaning, it almost like they were like distracted by their pain. Like if you were in a lot of pain and then like someone's throwing stuff at you, and then you like really hurt your knee and you're sitting there, you're like, oh my gosh, and then people are throwing stuff. You're only kind of getting out of the way. Then you're not doing what you would normally do.
So the brain, like the fish's body, has repurposed itself to just pay attention to that pain that's going on
because there's chemicals being sent there. So what is that? Now, second experiment, which is to me way more telling. They have 2 fish tanks that are connected by a tube. They put the fish in the tube of the connections. In one side, they have gravel and plants, other fish, all kinds of cool knickknacks going on for them. You know what I mean? And in the other side, it's barren, empty, just glass. Every single fish would pick the full one.
Yeah.
Every time. They go in and be like, they might look at the other one and be like, forget that, and then they go into the other one. Okay. Now here's the thing. If they inject the acid into the fish, and in the water, in the clear side, they put painkillers, like morphine, then the fish would go into the clear side.
Oh.
So if they put painkillers into the water on the clear side, it could somehow sense that.
It would check both out, like it always had, and it would go to the one with the painkillers because there was less pain there, because they're getting painkillers.
Right. Interesting.
So, phase 2. To double down on that experiment, they injected. This is done by universities too. It's not me and Jeffrey.
When you say they, definitely not us.
Definitely not.
Please don't hate us.
They took acid and they took the painkiller then and injected it directly into the fish so that the fish could take the painkiller wherever it went, even though it had also been injected with the acid, and then it went back to choosing the gravel side, even with the pain. So it wasn't like pain caused it to want to be alone and away from gravel. It was just wherever the painkiller was is where it was going to go. So why would it put so much significance on the painkiller if it didn't feel pain? So those are the 2 experiments. And I found them to be pretty interesting myself. So my question to you, or I guess reading all the experiments and reading all the opinions and how their cerebral cortexes work and all these different variables, I've arrived at the idea that I believe that they do feel some sort of pain, but it is different than how we perceive it. I don't believe it's as overwhelming based on what chemicals are being sent, and I don't believe it's as significant. I just don't believe it's the same. But I do think there is some form of pain.
Yeah.
So the question arrives now. Immediately people are like, well, why would you fish? It's like, well, why would you hunt? I'm pretty sure that hurts too. You know what I mean? A bullet hurts too. So you got to it's really hard to not look at the big picture because it's really easy to get chalked up in that and be like, well, why would you fish then? Why would you do that? Although I'll never understand catch and release fishermen. Don't get me started. I don't want to have the debate, but it makes no sense. Why you gonna go? Well, they're beautiful. You got to let them go. Well, why are you out there torturing them if you're not going to?
That's a good point.
I never understood.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like I'll catch a fish and be like, it's not big enough, or it's not the right species, and I'll let it go. But like if I catch a keeper that I could consume, Why would I go out there unless I'm going to eat it? But that's just my 2
It's
cents.
like if bird watchers.
And we lost the last of the viewers.
It's like if bird watchers went out with shotguns, but only winged the birds so that they could hold them and look at
There
it.
you go.
And
That's
then they
actually-
let them back into the wild.
In a sense, yes. With
That's a
some
great.
fish,
That's
what
a great
happens.
example.
Yeah.
It really is.
I'm glad we all agree on it because a lot of people, we're probably going to get dogged for that
To
one.
me, the
Stems up.
thing that I came down to was that they feel something, but it's not pain. It's more of a defense mechanism. They know it's bad, and they will naturally avoid that because they don't want to die. Survival,
I disagree.
All sounding very convincing.
I
Never once have I heard a fish say "ow."
Duh.
I disagree because of the Lego experiment. I just
Okay.
to say it's a defense mechanism to try and get away from it. They're less likely to deal with trying to get away from stuff that could hurt them. That's unknown because they're in pain already. So I just don't. I don't agree with that. I think that it is a form of pain. I do. I think it's a distracting pain like anything else.
Right. I think they just. I think maybe
Jeff slams this thing down.
he walks out.
Yeah.
I think every animal is going to feel some sort of pain, and some handle it better than others. Like our German Shorthairs, Java, the brown dog, he has gotten a mouthful of porcupine quills a couple times. Like he's tried just full on grabbed
wow.
it, and so we'd have to put wood in his mouth to prop it open so he couldn't close his mouth on it, and then just headlock him and pull those suckers out. But they're pretty. They have good self control because we trained them, but they just sit there and take it. And like that was it.
Poor
like
Bubba's.
they wouldn't. They just deal with it.
Right.
Like when you're gonna punish them, you could whop them upside the head, and they're just like, okay, I won't do that again. I get like things like if.
But not with the porcupine, they'll do that again.
Really?
Sometimes I think he's done it twice, where he's gotten a nose full, and then one time he tried to attack it, and it was just his whole mouth. That was bad.
Well,
Like in Homeward Bound.
Yeah, so because of that, the experiments and like how the fish reacted to the experiments is what led me to be there. So what do we do about it? The question there now. Take a big look at the big picture. Like I said, hunting, you want to make the cleanest, most ethical shot. You're shooting a deer. How quick can I put it down without pain? Mm-hmm. You're hunting iguana. How quick can I put it down without pain? If you're hunting anything, how quick can I put it down without pain? You know what I mean? I want this to be a quick, clean thing. It's to be ethical. So in the situation of the fish, I think that one thing, like for instance, walleye, what they'll do is when they take walleye out of the water, they'll snip up underneath the gills, like where it goes right here. There's a little tube thing, I guess you would say. Yeah, if you snip that, they'll bleed out basically instantly. Like it just pours out.
It's like
you put them in the water and they die real fast, so they don't suffer that way. Ice fishing, I think, is a little different because you can nurse them back to life. So you have to. You've seen it. You've seen it now.
I've seen you do it.
Yeah. So you can nurse them back to life, and you might not always decide, whether you're going to keep them or not.
Yeah.
And
I did read something on that though, that you take them, you catch them, and you throw them out on the ice. And I've read several that have said that basically at that point they're so cold that they kind of go dormant.
yeah.
But now there's something new, and that was one of the things I found while reading this, was that that potentially that's not the case, and it's just that they can't move anymore. So
Yeah.
I want
like
to
an
read more
amphibian.
about that. I didn't come to a conclusion about it, but it was that
I
it's
think-
potentially worse to just leave them out on the ice without
Yeah,
killing
well,
them first.
well, you also can still let them go. The other
Yeah.
thing is, instead of using a stringer, like let's say, the stringer is the one that goes through the gill, comes out the mouth. It's a big old string. Instead of using that, we could actually use. My dad and I use these baskets where it's like a collapsible. You put the fish in the top, and then it closes back up.
Looks like a crab trap.
Yeah, it
almost.
does. It does.
Yeah,
and then
nice.
they can stay alive in there and not suffer. And then when you get them out, you can ethically kill them quick with a knife, or if it's a big fish, like I said, you could bleed it. But I know that based on reading this, I am going to take how I handle fish
differently.
I want it to be quicker because I do believe that there is a form of pain. I don't think it's severe. I don't think it's like us. I don't think it's the same. But there's the science is telling me that there's probably a good chance that they're feeling something.
You
So
don't
I
want-
want
you don't want them to
I want to
suffer.
make it as clean and ethical as possible. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do moving forward. When we come back from the break, we've got like the sweetest little Facebook message we've ever gotten, and there was a 1,000-year-old hunting tool found. Stay tuned. You're a hunter, and because you hunt, you're the world's greatest conservationist. You're a huntervationist.
You do more for wildlife and conservation than anyone. The Sportsman Alliance protects hunters from the animal rights movement. When the Sportsman Alliance gets involved in court cases or legislation, hunters win. Conservation wins. Become a Huntervationist today and join the Sportsman Alliance like we did to help protect your rights against the animal rights movement.
Hotshot Outfitters in Port Hope, Michigan is the destination for white-tailed deer, crow, waterfowl, rabbit, predator, and turkey hunts. We have cabins, over 30,000 non-fenced acres, and a passion for delivering fair chase hunts to you and your family. Reserve your hunt at hotshotoutfitters.com today.
When your hands are busy, your mind gets right. When your hands are busy, you can't point fingers and complain that life isn't fair. When your hands are busy, you're serving your family, your friends, and your community. When your hands are busy, you show everyone what you're capable of. The all-new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year.
So ending at 50.
Hello and welcome back to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. Comment of the week comes from Jack D. Hernandez, and this one actually meant a lot to me. I don't normally get emotional, but this one kind of touched me.
Here we go.
He said, I saw your show for the first time today. I'm really never a big fan of fishing shows, but I gotta tell you, something about watching you guys fishing for peacock bass touched me deeply. I'm not sure if it was the scripture and proverbs you shared or the genuine humor of the young man hosting. I'm so proud of you for putting on the show. I look forward to seeing it again. Keep the faith. Run your race. You'd be surprised who's watching. Thank you 1,000 times. God bless. I'm not getting emotional, but that kind of... it's just...
I like that. Keep the faith, run the race. That's a cool one.
The thing
I never
is,
heard that.
like, we were going through it. AJ was just... One of his friends works in Hollywood, and he works for a couple different shows and documentaries and stuff like that. And they were talking about the fact that the process that we do to put the show together at the highest level like we do is the same as they do at the highest of levels and other things. It's just me, AJ, Ryan, and Jeffrey all do 5 or 6 jobs each as opposed to 35 people. And when someone like recognizes like the story and what you're trying to put together and what you're trying to do, and they stumbled across it and like resonated enough, there's a level of like being into what you said and being like, that's a cool show, I'll probably watch that again, to holy cow, I really like that, I'm going to make sure I DVR the series, to I want to look these guys up on Facebook, to I'm going to write them a really nice heartfelt message. And that's, to me, that meant a whole lot. So Jack, thank you so much, and that's why we do it.
I want to know...
It's all about connecting.
When he said, where he said, you'd be surprised who's watching.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is someone important watching?
No.
No.
No, it couldn't mean that. No, exactly. Like
what is it?
It's not Undercover Boss, because I'm the boss. Melting
Undercover
Yukon ice reveals a 1,000-year-old copper hunting arrow. So they're filming a documentary. They're I forgot where it was, but it was in the Yukon. Carcross? Is that how you say it? Mm-hmm. Exactly the way it's spelled. All right. They were there checking out the caribou, and they landed to film the caribou because they were running a documentary, a whole camera crew and everything like that, and they landed on one of these ice sheets. And what would happen is, in ancient, like even now, the caribou leave the bottom of the mountains and stuff like that because all the mosquitoes and stuff start getting up on them, and they'll go up to the ice caps at the top. And then that's hunters back then used to ambush hunt them, and the caribou are still there, so you still could do it. But when they got out, they noticed this frozen in the ice, and that is that's a copper arrowhead, and on it,
Antler arrow.
Yeah,
That is the coolest thing.
So essentially, what they did, they used it was something else. I don't know that it was.
It's got to be some sort of bone.
Yeah, it was.
It was a barbed antler arrow shaft.
Yeah, and it was frozen in the ice. That's the only reason why it was preserved. And they were able to carbon date it, and they found out that it was 936 years old.
And that was based on the biological material because it was an antler. If
That's
it was,
awesome.
if it wasn't, they said a lot of stuff like this, you can't carbon date it because there's no good biological material to be able to pull from that to carbon date it.
Right.
So
That is too cool.
That is
because
awesome.
it was in the ice and because it only melted that much, they were able to pull it and carbon date it. Which is
It's one of the oldest bow and arrow type finds ever
in the Yukon.
Look
in
at
Yukon.
And it was the oldest known copper weaponry
So-
thing in the Yukon.
1,000 years old. Okay.
And the fact that they were
between 850 and 1,000, I think.
and the quality of it.
Yeah.
I know. Look at the engine. Like this
pure.
doesn't sound stupid, but the engineering on it is awesome.
Yeah.
Like if the arrowhead goes in past, it's still going to be locked in because of all those barbs on the antler. It's just
That's
awesome.
A lot of trial and error.
So that was found, but
took to get
it
that.
was just dumb luck that they found it. They wouldn't have been up on that mountain if they wouldn't have seen the caribou. And they pulled in. They're like, yeah. I guess they were like back and forth on whether they were going to film it. Probably like us. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I guess we could use that shot. So for the documentary.
I think what they said was that they were coming in and they were going to land in one particular spot, but because all the caribou were there, they're like, let's land over here instead. And just because they happened to pick this instead of the like 18 other options around them, because they landed there, that's why they found it. So like, what are the odds? It's
yeah.
pretty, you know.
When my dad was building golf courses out in Illinois, he would find when they were digging up all the dirt and everything to get ready to put the golf course in, he found a few arrowheads out there and like axe heads and stuff in the dirt.
That's cool.
Which is pretty cool.
That is super
That's
neat.
awesome.
There was another sad story. Another person was attacked by a mountain lion, and this time it was a 7-year-old little boy. So this one, where was this? It was in Canada, right, Jeff?
in British Columbia.
Yeah, British Columbia.
Poaching.
So another mountain lion attack. The kid was playing out in his yard, 7 years old, and the mom heard him screaming at the top of his lungs. So she goes running out to check in what it is, and there's a mountain lion.
There were two.
Well, they killed two, but she only saw the one. I guess
the one was attacking, and the other one was just in the area.
Yeah, he was just chilling,
Yeah.
watching, weirdo. But
Yeah, get him.
it's only funny because the kid made it. Don't worry, Ryan. So anyhow,
God, that's a dark.
7-year, yeah, that really was 7-year-old boy screaming at the top of his lungs. The mountain lion was on top of him, had him with the jaws, had him pinned to the ground, had his arm. The mom goes busting outside screaming, tackles the mountain lion and fights it. She had bite
Opens
marks.
its jaws and then throws it off of the kid.
No way.
Yeah.
Now, the mountain lion, both of them that were in the area, were only 6 months old. They were incredibly emaciated, so they hadn't been eating. So they think that the only reason why they attacked was because they had no source of food.
Right.
They had been separated from the mom too early, something like that. And because they were so weak and scrawny, that the mom was able to get them
It's
out.
like the
But
mom's strength,
It's
too.
still very
Wow.
impressive.
Yeah. So yeah, they hunted him down, found the two, and killed them. Like dispatched them real quick. The mountain lions, and they were all like he said, they were super jacked up. They hadn't been eaten, and they think that they were acting out of character because of it.
And now the only reason why
They think
killed
they might have been
them-
abandoned, by the way,
Yeah.
like by the mom or
The
whatever.
only reason why they killed them is because once a mountain lion gets a taste for human and now sees that as a potential prey, that you can't just leave them out in the wild
Okay.
because
I
then
don't-
they'll go after
I don't
They
subscribe to
tell
that
two
at all.
friends and
I
they
don't
tell
think
two
so.
friends.
No, what I think is,
because otherwise why would they kill them?
I think mountain lions will eat people if they're hungry and the opportunity presents itself. There was a 7-year-old kid who was defenseless. Mountain lion was like, "Yep, I think I can take him, and I'm hungry." I think it's that simple. I don't think they're
so,
like,
too.
"Got a taste." So I prefer 7-year-old over. I don't. I
It
could
was
be.
a good year.
Yeah, oh, jeez,
I-
Jeffrey. Did you make a wine tasting joke on a kid getting ate? Jeez.
I'm with Kyle on that, and I don't think that they should have been maybe relocated, but I don't think put down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't disagree with putting him down. I didn't say I disagree with that.
I disagrey with that.
They're wild
throw them a little
animals.
farther north.
Yeah.
Okay, if they die there, they die there. But
Yeah, but if they
north
could be like mental.
If it was your 7-year-old kid, you'd think differently. I think if my 7-year-old got attacked by a mountain lion, that mountain lion's dead, and if the authorities didn't do it, I will hunt it down. So that's my thoughts. But nonetheless, we actually got a couple people that messages this pretty aggressively and funny that they're wondering what's going on with our Greenway Gear clothing. So the Greenway Gear clothing should be wrapped up here at the end of April for pre-order, and then right around May 1st we'll be shipping it out. So we're pretty excited about that.
I liked the one. You said April. It's April 1st. Where is it? Oh.
I know, but it's good. I mean, and then
Do we do a pre-order? Like what?
we're going to. So once we get the final samples in, basically where it is in the process right now is we custom designed this. This isn't a gilding shirt with our logo slapped on it. This is the legitimate Greenway Gear designed. AJ designed the tags and the washing instructions, everything like that. I designed the clothing and the camo pattern. It's all custom. It's all us, and it's really, really cool. And there's gonna be lots of options
We have
for
a
you.
copyright on the camo.
Yeah, it's ours. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Greenway Outdoors. Check out our social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, we have a lot of how-to videos that are going to be coming out. Right now, we're going to show you our how to clean a northern pike. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green.
Goodbye. Love you guys.
Hello and welcome to the Greenway Outdoors Kitchen. One of the fish that people are scared of is the northern pike, not because of the big teeth, but because filleting them is very difficult. See, they have an extra set of bones that can be confusing for the average person who's trying to fillet a fish without getting a bunch of bones. Today, I'm going to show you how to get all the fillets off this fish, not waste any meat, and not be eating bones either. Let's get started. To start, we're actually going to have the fish sitting upright like this. The first fillet is going to be off the top of the back. Now the extra line of Y bones ends at about this line here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start just behind the head. We're going to cut straight down until we feel the top of those bones. Once we feel them, we're going to turn our knife and then run right along down them until we get to the tail. And we're going to turn the knife upwards and then come out. And that there will be your first boneless fillet. Now when you look at the fish like this, you're going to now see this faint white line right here that runs along there and runs along here. That's the other set of the bones. Normally you just have them in the middle here and then the ribs that go out, but there's a whole nother set right here. So what we're going to do to dodge those is we're going to cut the fillets off that are on the outside of this. And the way that you're going to do that is exactly how you would think. You're going to start by making a line right on the outside of those bones, just kind of following them down, staying on the outside of them, and just kind of cutting the meat away from them. Cutting this down, away from those bones. And all the way down his stomach. Now this fish here actually had a war wound that we had seen on his side, a puncture wound, and it looks like that puncture wound left a bit of redness on the meat here. Cut that fillet off. There's the fillet with his puncture wound. We'll cut that off. There you go. Do the same thing to the other side. Again, just on the outside of those bones. You see the faint white line in there, and you just stay on the outside of them. Just follow that along there. Get it started by puncturing the skin. Puncture the skin. And then you just let it come right off there. Real nice. Side was a lot easier without the puncture wound. Cut it off. Left with another boneless fillet. So now we got 3. You can see that second one was a lot cleaner. Now the other 2 happen to be in the tail. So you look where the butt is there. Now in between the butt and here, whole lot of bones. So you don't want to do this until you actually get on the far side of the butt, but you're just going to cut right in until you get to the spine there. And then you're going to turn your knife and you'll run it right out the tail there. There's another boneless fillet. Do the same thing to the other side. Turn your knife. You got another boneless fillet. There's all 5. You can discard the remains. For this fillet here, you'll see there's skin on the one side. Very simple, just like any fillet. Make a little incision towards you. Then turn your knife and run it right along the skin, and the meat will come off real nice for you. And once you're done with that, you've got yourself a boneless, skinless pike fillet. A quality meat that I would put right up there with walleye and a lot of everybody else's favorite freshwater fish. It's very mild, very tasty. Now you know how to clean it. You won't have to throw them back. Thanks so much for joining us in the Green Outdoors kitchen. Stay green.